So we won't discard our hand, but we will attack and we'll get to meld. This is absolutely beautiful. I've never done this. Wow. Make them discard. And we get 3 options. So many options. Welcome back to a new video. Today we'll be looking at Mishra, Tamer of Fawa. This is a very interesting one because I think people might be building it slightly wrong. I know I definitely was when I first built him. It's because he has a lot of caveats before you actually kind of tune the deck to be perfect. You might be confused into thinking that you want to have everything as artifacts, but I actually think that's a trap. Any artifact that costs 3 or less is probably not that effective in the deck because you're basically going to get it out for what its cost is, and in fact even more. So an artifact that costs 1 would cost 3 to get this out. There are some corner cases like Mishra's Research Desk, which is actually pretty good even if you can get it out of the graveyard again, because you get some card advantage at the top. So what I would suggest is if you were making this deck, you want to put artifacts that cost more than 3 in to get the discount, because anything that costs, let's say, 9, if this was in the graveyard, will cost 3. So you're giving us a discount of 6 mana. That's humongous. So you want to kind of top load your deck with really expensive artifacts. And it can be a little bit tricky to also choose which ones those are as well, because if you look at the reminder text of Unearth, it says exile it at the beginning of the next end step, or if it would leave the battlefield. So what does this mean? It means that stuff with death triggers won't work. A worm coil engine that goes to the graveyard by itself will give you 2 worms, but if you unearth this for 3 mana, at the end step it will actually exile, and therefore you won't get any worm tokens, which is really sad. I have included it anyway just because it's so powerful by itself, but I would tend to avoid stuff, too many things, with death triggers. So I do have Sundering Titan in here as well, but it's just the creature has to be super powerful for order to really go in. Otherwise you're kind of just nullifying its death trigger if you have too many. As you can see, I do have a few like Treasure Keeper as well. Something else I would suggest as well is when you resurrect the artifact out of the graveyard, I would suggest having something like Only Cult Anvil, because this can sacrifice an artifact to give you a construct at your turn and also drain the opponent for 1 as well. So yeah, there's a lot of different layers I had to kind of put into this deck to make it effective. So it took quite a bit of iteration. We also have Mishra, the mythic version of Mishra, and the Phyrexian Dragon Engine as well, so we can try and meld those together as a little bit of a bonus. But yeah, apart from that, it's a pretty powerful Rakdos shell, lots of removal, lots of cards that discard stuff to the graveyard. Bitter Reunion is one of my favourite brand new cards. If you like stuff like Cathartic Reunion, then you're really going to like this, because not only is it pretty much strictly better than the instants that normally give you that ability, you can pay 1, sack it to give your creatures haste till end of turn. This is fantastic if you're trying to meld Mishra with the Phyrexian Dragon Engine, because giving them haste means you'll be able to meld it the turn they're out, which is pretty good. Mishra does tend to suffer from getting killed a lot, but if you put a few things like Feign Death, Malakir Rebirth, and Professor's Warning, you can prevent it from dying and re-trigger your opponent, casting him again and sacrificing a permanent. Don't underestimate that either. Every time someone tries to kill him, they will sack a permanent, even if it's a bounce spell. The deck list will be in the description below. Don't forget to leave me a like and a sub if you enjoy the content. And let's get into the gameplay. Okay, opponent goes first with Raga Draga. So yeah, another deck which is an established powerhouse basically. Yeah, don't play on Saturday, guys. If you want to have fun playing this game, I would completely avoid Saturdays. Honestly. Just don't do it. Do not play on Saturday. All you will face is hell. So I could have gone for the Dark Ritual, but I'd rather not. Let's go for the Research Desk and maybe get a land here. Or the Celestus. Yeah, Celestus is cool. That's fine. So if they get any mana rocks, they'll be able to tap for double. So we're very lucky that we didn't actually see a single mana dork yet. Bit confused. A bit confused. Incubation druid. So we can kill that with the Elspeth's Nightmare, which is going to be good. Yeah, so let's do that. Okay, yeah, so basically with this Ragga Dragga deck, you have to kill every single creature they cast, or you'll just lose. You will just lose. Get rid of the Coldsteel Heart there. Oh, Dragon Engine. We literally have the meld pair again. And they literally have 7 drops. What kind of a hand did they keep? That's actually ludicrous. I doubt we're even going to get to see our cool things. How much of a sport are they? Will we live to see the meld? Will we get to meld? And if we don't get to meld, you saw it here, guys. You saw it here. I would have melded in the next turn. It still counts. It still counts. We go first against your rock. Okay. Very powerful. Double triggers. I don't know if you've seen the spoilers for the next Phyrexia all be one set, but they've just released an Elish Norn, which is a Panamonican for mono white. So that's kind of cool, if you're into that sort of thing. Turn 2 Key to the Archive's pretty good, right? Especially with the Time Warp. That's bonkers. So they're on 3-ish mana and we're on a bit more than that. So we could legit just go for Time Warp, but I think I'd rather just go for a bit more setup first. Time Warp with the Black Market connections out is kind of crazy. Menagerie Curator, that's cool. They get to draw a card if they cast a creature spell that doesn't share a type with a creature in the library. I'd find it really hard to use this because you're kind of like trying to deliberately not use anything similar to each other. So yeah, all 3 modes, please. Time Warp. Oh, okay, yeah. I guess Time Warp into Black Market Connections twice is kind of sweet, right? Okay, so I think I've discovered the new boogeyman of the format. And that's Rusko Clockmaker. So I was just talking to my Discord about this, and I was basically saying how it's the same problem that Golos has. When this guy comes out, he creates mana. And the mana pays for half of the command attacks, which is very, very dangerous. Not only that, but it also is inherent card advantage, because the clocks eventually go away and give them 7 cards. But on top of that, they get to drain you 1 every time they cast a non-creature spell. So this is a very, very pretty toxic deck, to be perfectly honest. Okay, so the exiled are Flames of Moradin, which would have been an incredible way to get rid of all their clocks, but there you go. We'll go for the Fable of the Mirror Breaker. Yeah, it's pretty demoralising when you're facing a control deck and they get rid of your answer that would have probably helped you, but not much we can do about that. I mean, I suppose in a way it's good they didn't get rid of one of our artifacts that we haven't drawn any of yet, which is kind of weird. Get rid of the Faithless Looting and the land, because we still can cast it anyway. Now they've blatantly got removal or a counter spell up here. But let's swing anyway and get ourselves a treasure. And do apologise if I make a mistake or sound a bit tired. I am a bit tired today because I've been a bit ill. I have been a bit ill. Cool, so we'll pass a turn. Opt. I don't know how I feel about Opt. I really don't. I just think... Is it a good card? It's hard to say. I think in 60 card, probably. But in 100 cards, scrying one, draw it just to replace itself. Yeah, I'm not really sure. Let's do this. So if they counter this, it'd be quite annoying because we've just lost 2 cards. Okay. Oh, wow. Okay. So it feels looking pretty awesome. We've got 5 cards in hand. We're creating lots of ramp. Now, I'm a bit scared of some kind of mass board wipe. Do we try and go for a few different things? This can copy a non-legend. That's a non-legend there. Let's try and resolve the Aetherflux Reservoir. If they counter this, I'm not that bothered really. As if it resolved. They're very confident in letting these things resolve. Okay. Sensor. Sure. Very aggressive. I don't know whose list this is. I know there's a few YouTubers who have run this, but okay, Urtai. They're going to kill the reflections and we get to draw a card. Sure thing. But now they're completely exposed. And what artifacts do we have in the graveyard? So we don't have any. Let's play a land. We've got the Mishra and we've got the Dragon Engine. So, if only we had haste. So we can give the Dragon Engine haste with this Mishra. So let's get this Mishra out first. Do we want to get 2 Mishras out? Yeah, let's get 2 Mishras out. That's just going to be fun, isn't it? So they don't know we have the Dragon Engine. Okay. So next turn, they're in a bit of a predicament. If they counter this... Well, they can't counter it because they'll just let us meld the Mishra. Let's see what they do. They could have a board wipe. A Languish would only kill 1 Mishra, though. What are the black? Search for a Scanter. Okay, I think we have just got ourselves first ever meld of these two. So we can draw 2, discard 2. This is very risky in case I got a pact. Okay, we get rid of this and we can get rid of Treasure Keeper. Why not? Oh, they're going to concede, aren't they, before we can do this? Well, unearth. Oh, this is beautiful. So we won't discard a hand, but we will attack and we'll get to meld. This is absolutely beautiful. I've never done this. Wow. Make them discard, and we get 3 options. So many options. Wow, okay. Wow, I'm just kind of stunned. This isn't even the Mishra video I was making. Wow, I'm so glad I captured that. Thank you for being part of this. Okay, so we'll have a punt with this. It does feel like, because I'm playing Saturday, Everyone's using their best decks to farm gold, it seems. Between Nicobus, Godfarer, and Muldrotha, and Yarok, you know, this is just somehow I'm in tier 1 hell. I don't really know how I got there with this deck, really, unless that's just the meta, but we'll see. If I can get the black market connections out, I might have a chance, but so the turn 1 there was very difficult from the opponent, apparently. Playing the Frostboil's Snarl, revealing a mountain, that took a lot of effort. Thought Erasure, well there's the black market connections gone. Oh dear. Well, they might get with a Prosper. It's between these two. Surely it's the black market connections. Also, here's the funny thing about Magic the Gathering Online Arena, people. When you use a card that says look at your opponent's hand and make them discard, the rest of the cards will remain visible for the duration of the game unless their hand changes state, like if I draw 3, put 2 back. So the fact that they had to read each individual card gives me a few points of data there. One, they don't know the game that well to immediately go for the black market connections. But 2, they don't need to read every card, because once you know the main threat is black market connections, you immediately go for that, and then you can still see the rest of the cards in my hand. Does that make sense? But there you go. So now the cool thing is we can actually protect the Prosper, because we've got the extra mana here. And also we can go for the bonus of Citadel. If Prosper survives, which is likely, it would be great for the rest of the game. But it looks like they're just going about their merry way. So there you go. See, the thing about people that use these kind of decks is, the Nicoboluses and the Muldrothas, they talk the talk, but do they walk the walk? You know what I'm saying? It's one thing to get this deck list from Daddy. Oh, Daddy, make me a deck list. But can they actually pilot it? That's the question, isn't it? Right, let's just kind of go off a little bit, I suppose. We can even protect the Prosper with the boots as well. We could even use the research desk to exile a couple cards off the top to kind of push away the land. Let's secure the land for the following turn. Sadly, there's just another land on top. And yeah, we'll give him the boots here. I'd rather give him the boots than keep up the mana for the Feign Death, because I feel like this is better in the long run. That was a lot of lands on top. What was that 4 lands on top? Quite crazy. A board wipe would do it here, though. 4 damage to each creature. They don't have mana for Languish. This is the only issue with these lands, is they look a bit similar colour. Like, that's a swamp. If you're colourblind, I don't know if you'd actually be able to see the difference there, but the only issue I have here is, oh, it does actually tell you how it's exiled. This is very, very useful, because I only get the swamp with the one from Prosper. Sorry, I only get the treasure that way. I'd rather play land off the top, sadly, so I won't get the treasure. Oh my god, another land. So they've got 5 mana, they're 2 off Bolus. As if there's so many lands. It's kind of crazy. Kind of crazy. 3 swamps. And... okay, I'll play the arena. Just because I can use this Malakir Rebirth from the top of the deck without actually needing to spend mana, so... oh no, I can't because it gets exiled. Okay, fine. Can you believe how many 4 swamps as well? That's weird, isn't it? So if he's got a River's Rebuke, that would be very, very irritating. As is customary. Got a Wurmcoil Engine in the graveyard, so that's 6 haste if we ever get desperate. If he's got the Flames of Moradin, I'd be very sad as well. That would get rid of all our very powerful artifacts. So we have to prepare ourselves for the Nicol Bolas coming down the following turn. Whelming Wave. Okay. Braid. Treasure Keeper. That's a good card, actually. Treasure Keeper. Let's go for the Prosper again. Do they have a counter of some kind? They can't possibly. Give them the haste. Swords to Plowshares. They really don't want me to have that, do they? Okay, well, okay, there's a few interesting things going on here. If they do go for the Bolas, we know what's on top. It's a Lightning Bolt, so don't mind that. Don't mind that at all. So I think we're just going to spend this turn abrading the Tome. Because that's given him, like, what, 2 or 3 cards? Okay. Let's see what they do. And we also have fodder in the hand in case they want to exile stuff. So if they don't go for Bolas, then that means Treasure Keeper might be dying, and then we get to bolt them. There's so many different lines of play here. We've got Wurmcoil Engine as well. 3, 6, 7. Okay, so they do go for the Bolas. Interesting. Let's see what they do. The free spell.
Bow before your god, Pharaoh.
Oh, this is cool. This is cool. I weirdly don't feel that in danger yet. Okay, so they're going to get the Lightning Bolt. Let's see. I mean, it's pretty obvious they're going to go for the Treasure Keeper, isn't it? But they do see the Feigned Death, though. That's the interesting part. So they might just go for face. Yeah, because we have a Bolas Citadel, don't we? 9. Okay. Faithless Looting. But they've forgotten that we have the Wurmcoil Engine in the graveyard. So let's just do this first. Ooh, Meteor Golem on top. That does it as well. So we can get rid of 1 card. Get rid of those 2, I think. Yeah, we've got a lot of options here. So we'll use the Wurmcoil Engine. So we can kill the Bolas. So that's good. We're going to gain some life as well. That feels pretty satisfying.
Your arrogance will be your
We'll
folly.
save the Meteor Golem. And we'll put the Swiftfoot Boots on the Mishra as well. And that means we'll still have 1 mana left for the Feigned Death in case anything goes wrong. This gets exiled in a turn, so we don't get the worms. As I said in the deck tech, remember that. But that 6 damage was pretty clutch in stopping them from pretty much running away. Arcane Bombardment, that's going to be scary. But we do have Meteor Golem. Salt Strobe. They're going to have to sack a permanent, though. I think they may have just given up the will to live here. So they're preparing for the following turn, but I... what other spells were there? Whelming Wave, Swords. Wowzers, wowzers. Sure. So can we discard the Meteor Golem to make it a bit cheaper? Let's do that. Get rid of that. And... oh no, we'll get rid of the Elspeth's Nightmare, I think. Yeah, they're not going to be a big fan of me, are they? Kill the Arcane Bombardment. Play the Thran Spider. So that can help pay for future costs. And then I think we'll go for the Oni Cult Anvil as well, so we can sacrifice anything that would have died. Oh my goodness, so much synergy, so many pieces. If you like moving things around, then you'll absolutely love this deck. So what I was going to say is I could have used the Oni Cult Anvil to sacrifice the Meteor Golem before it gets exiled end of turn. I could have used the Bellis' Citadel to sack 10 things to deal 10 more damage, because they were going to take 7. That was going to be 10 just there, so they had a board wipe or something. And, you know, next turn we could have gone for Skitterbeam Battalion, got 2 more things out. There's so many pieces, yeah. It's great fun. Did you know that you can help my channel by watching another one of my videos? Go ahead, you know you want to.